Hello, Atra.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
By the way, is it okay if we do it all in English?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
No problem.
great. All right, how are you? It's been a long time we haven't seen each other.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes.
It's been 2 years.
Reading?
Yeah, almost 2
2 years
years.
since we did a podcast?
The last time it was 2021.
Okay.
2021.
Wow.
I came with Leona. She was 9 months.
I don't know, that wasn't it. It was 2022. I know it was 2022 because I came to you with my BMW,
It's so
which
true.
I bought in 2022. Yes, 2021 we did the first podcast
Yeah, this is-
ever.
Oh my god.
Because this is why I get confused. We did a podcast online.
Yeah, it was online.
And I think we had never talked. And the first time we talked on the podcast.
on the podcast, yeah.
Yes, and I was sick. And I had the red face.
Oh yeah, and the
Yes.
internet was crap.
And the internet was crap. And yeah. And it was great. It was very cool.
It was awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think it was only the second podcast that I did online. I think we did 2 podcasts online.
I
Didn't
think
we?
it was also a live. We did live together,
We did lives together, yeah.
so you can count them as podcasts.
Yes, I have no memory of anything in life. Like, I remember what I did like last 3 days, and that's it. That's
Last
it.
3 days?
Yes, that's it. Before that, I
Fair
get
enough.
confused.
Fair enough, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so very nice to have you here on the studio, which you can see is very nice.
Yes.
And so, Atra, I wanted to tell you something. Before
Yeah.
we started the podcast, I'm gonna tell it to you now because I'm Amin
Okay.
and I throw like information at KO, which I find interesting.
Fun fact.
Yes, fun fact. So, biologists biologists realized why people live so long.
Okay.
Yes, because we live to about 80 years old. And another fun fact, women live about 10 years more than men.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is, in every animal, when we stop being able to give birth, we die, because that's like the job of you being alive is to reproduce and continue the lineage. Like that's
Okay.
what genes are. That's how genes work. But in humans, elephants, and killer whales, these 3 species, they continue living as much as twice
Okay.
after, like as much as 40 years after. So you're okay. So,
Where are you going with this? Carry on.
but the thing is,
Am I gonna die?
no. We're going to do the job of biology, and we're gonna kill you because that's what you're supposed. No, we're not. But
Okay.
biologists really didn't understand at first why orcas, elephants, and human beings lived so long after
Procreating.
after they lost their ability to procreate.
Yeah.
And what they realized is these species rely on information to survive. So this is nature giving us the chance to educate the younger population.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So I guess nature has evolved grandmas and granddads as
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
because even though nature decided that men don't need to live as long as women. But yeah, so I'm bringing this up because I think you have a lot to teach. You're not a grandma yet, but
Okay.
you have lived quite a life.
You're safe.
Look at me, I'm offending.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
First, 4 minutes of the podcast. You're old. You're gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can count age by years, but you could also count them by experiences.
Definitely.
And I think you have a lot of experiences. I know a lot of old people who don't have much experiences and they don't have much to teach. And I think that of myself. I think I have a lot to teach younger people, and I think you as well.
Okay.
So in that context, I'm going to ask you the following question.
All right.
So you have lived, I suppose, half of your life here in Algeria,
Mm-hmm.
at least as an adult,
Yeah.
right? And then you move to another country, and then you are living now your life in another country.
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned from that? And what could you teach the younger generation who might follow the same path or not, or might not follow the same path? What would you tell the people who are younger, who are maybe in their 20s, maybe in their late teens? How would you do it in this time and age?
You mean living here and then moving abroad, or just living in general?
Living in general.
Yeah, I would say like the thing I always tell people right now is do as much trainings as possible, because we don't realize how cheap our trainings are. Even if they seem to be expensive, they're actually not.
What kind of trainings?
You know what? Everything. Like if you are studying as like, I don't know, you're an engineer, you do a training in, I don't know,
SolidWorks.
SolidWorks. Yeah, basically. It's like anything that has to do with, I don't know, plumbing, or for a woman is like nail things and any electronics, you know, you have to be able to do things. Because once you're abroad, you realize like, I should have learned these things at some point. Maybe they're gonna be useful, maybe they're not, okay. But it's better to have them than not.
Okay.
That's it. So if you're abroad, I noticed like a lot of people who moved, for example, to Canada with their master's degree, their first job was in a burger shop or a donut shop.
They should have learned how to make burgers.
Yeah, but still, it's a crap salary because like it relies on tips, right?
Oh, yeah.
But if you have learned something that's actually good, you know, like tiles placement thingy or plumbing or something, you would make a lot of money, like the first year you go.
A mechanic being
mechanic as well, yeah. Instead of going and washing the dishes in an Indian restaurant or something and you know be subjugated, you have sana, you have something that people would respect you for. While you are building your future in whatever you're doing, you have good skills that nobody else around you have. Because what I notice now in Japan, for example, people don't have extra skills at all.
So it's only that job.
It's only one task focused kind of situation. So people don't know the basics of like how to live in a house and how to fix things in a house. I have like to fix things for my husband. It's not because he doesn't know, but he was not taught in that society to do these things. So I would always recommend people to do as much trainings, learn all the languages they can here. Because, for example, people tell me, I can go to Japan and study Japanese. Do you know how costly it is to study Japanese in Japan? Do you know how much money you are going to actually put in teaching, in learning a language in Japan? It's insane. Let me tell you something. As a teacher, people think that being a teacher in Japan pays well. Or at least this is the image I have from people who ask me questions. As a teacher, usually you have what we call one-to-one classes, and your salary is $12 per lesson.
How long is the lesson?
Usually most schools are 40 minutes, but you are under a lot of pressure because you have to make a lot of hours to make money. And also you have to be very careful because they have a very high standards of customer service. So you cannot like not work properly because the student, the client could give you a negative rating. And if a client gives you a negative rating, you get an email, you get a meeting, you get like what happened, why did you this, you get a warning, etc. So you're never safe.
Okay.
So yeah, first like do as much trainings and learn as much languages while you are in your 20s, because you won't have time in your 30s to keep learning. It's time to make money.
Oh yeah.
So this is the good thing I did here. I did printing, graphic design, serigraphy. Like I learned everything I could when I could. At 30, I stopped everything. Like I don't have time now to carry on. I need to make money now. So yeah, that's what I recommend people to do.
Yes, and in terms of other things, what about mentality and what they should expect from life? What they should give?
I think that I'll just give in my experience. When I was living here, it was as tough as it is for people right now. Okay, no car, no nothing, and I think that you don't have to have a specific like high expectation of the society you live in, no matter which society you live in. You just have to have high expectations of yourself as a person and what you can do to contribute to your future and contribute to your life in general. You cannot expect always society to give you everything, even if society is good or bad, because we think our society is bad. Others are not really amazing.
Okay.
They still have better maybe structure of daily life, yeah. But as I told you last time, maybe the first year abroad you will feel like, oh, finally this is a better country, you know, kind of attitude. But with time you'll be like, oh my god, like it's tiring.
What are the things that made you feel tired? What are the things that disappointed you when you went abroad?
You cannot rest. You cannot rest.
What do you mean?
You have to always keep, as they say, grinding. Okay, you always have to keep thinking of new ideas. You have to keep thinking of new ways of making money.
So, what are the things that make you tired? That made you tired abroad? What are the things that that kind of disturb you in Japanese society?
There is no flexibility in Japanese society,
Okay.
first of all. And also as a foreigner, you need to always keep trying to find ways to find better jobs. And also there is a huge disrespect to the work, to the job of teaching, to be honest.
Where does that come from?
It comes from the fact that most companies try to hire white people as an image, as a facade of like being the English speakers number one.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna interrupt you. I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you considered a white person in Japan?
Usually they don't know where I'm from.
But as
Yeah,
if
I am considered as a white person, yeah.
do you have the same privileges? Do you enjoy the privilege that a white person would enjoy?
If I don't say where I'm from, yes. But I would say privilege, like in terms of what, like life?
In terms of finding jobs, for example.
It depends of the company owners. So it depends on the staff. I had two weird situations where a British company wouldn't hire me because I'm not British.
Okay.
Like they wanted only to hire British people in their school, which I found odd, because they would hire someone who is a high school dropout,
And he's British.
but he's British. But they wouldn't hire who is like somebody like me who
Who
studied.
studied the language.
That's it. So who has a master's degree in literature, like it doesn't matter. But Japanese companies aren't better. I mean, most of them like hire people from other countries who are just, you know, English speakers. I had coworkers who are high school dropouts, but they have like dependent visa or something. And they were working and having the same salary as me. And this is one of the reasons why I stopped taking teaching seriously.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I'm not being respected. The students respect you, especially if you work hard to teach them. But the general atmosphere around teacher, like if you go to Craigslist or Gaijin Pot, and you see the listing of jobs, no experience required, English teacher.
So they expect you to have a certain nationality.
Yeah, first, yeah, and then like you speak and just be a clown. Basically, that's what they expect you to be.
But do they have expectations in terms of results?
They don't care.
That's the thing.
Because we're talking about customer service. All right, now what I noticed, like I worked very hard with my students to do exams, to teach them to speak, etc. A lot of clients come to just chat, and which is okay. And I chatted with them, but in my mind, I always wanted to make them feel. I mean, I wanted them to improve, but with others, like they don't care. Like, oh, cool, that client was easy because I didn't teach him. So you know what I'm saying. So your hard work doesn't really pay off unless you have a student who's taken exam and he passes. That's very good for me. That's very gratifying. But if it's just a client who likes to talk, you don't feel any difference because they don't respect the teacher in terms of doing the homework or trying to do the assessment you give them.
I see. So what did you do to improve the situation?
I mean, you can't improve the situation because most students don't care. Most teachers don't care.
Did you find alternatives for yourself?
Yes, definitely. I started working privately. I moved to photography completely because now, as I said, I can afford to buy the gears. And slowly, very slowly, I started going to people in restaurants it was very hard for me to just.
I can imagine. Ooh.
Especially in the Japanese societies, like you can imagine, like you go in.
You're not expected to do that
at all, and the staff goes like, and you see like the burn like coming from their thing.
What do you mean? Did they get angry or?
No, they don't know how to react. It's like, you know, when you play Sims.
Okay.
And you put the chair, and the Sims cannot move. You block him. Mm-hmm. That's how they are.
I heard that. It's perfect. It's well. It's fine.
So that's how they are. I mean, it's as much as I love Japan, and as much as I consider it as my second home now, there are things I wish they were different. A lot of things.
Give me examples.
On a daily
things that you wish were different.
I would say definitely people think there is you don't have any right or feeling. People think you are odd if you give your opinion or engage into critical thinking.
And you are a very opinionated person.
As we are all in Algeria, of course. Yes. And when you engage in these things, the conversations are very, very superficial. It's tiring because you find yourself just talking about the weather, a restaurant that opened, and an accident that happened on Yahoo News. Like when I was a client, as teacher, imagine you have one news you hear, okay? All the clients all day, they come as if they think this is the first time you heard this news. So imagine you have 12 clients, and every time one client comes, he's like, did you hear about na 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 na? And then you have to act surprised every time.
That's what's expected of you.
Yes.
What if you say, yeah, I heard of it?
That's very Algerian of you.
But how would they react? What would happen?
They would be disappointed. It's like when I send you a meme and you say, I saw it before. Like, what the hell, man? Pretend you didn't see it.
Okay, I
see. So you have to be like, oh my God, really? Oh my God, 12 times. So yeah, it kind of like,
okay.
Yeah, I was able to push some clients to engage into higher conversations, but most of them are very like, you know,
shallow,
very shallow conversations.
Okay, but we do have this in Algeria.
You think?
Oh yeah, we do. I know that maybe when you come to Algeria, you kind of for example, I'm gonna give you a simple example. We've been on a taxi, not this time, the time before.
Yeah.
Right, and we started talking to the guy.
Yeah.
And I think I asked him about how old his car is, and then he started talking about how cars were affordable before, because Algerian money was more valuable.
And the currency.
And the currency. And I wanted to tell him that it's not about how valuable the currency is; it's about how much you can afford with your salary.
Yeah.
Right. And sure enough, I think 1 dinar is the same as 1 yen. 1 Japanese yen. Yes. So, but Japanese people can afford much more things.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right.
Because the salary is different.
The salary is completely different. But the point is, it's the salary. It's not how valuable a dinar is. But everyone in Algeria, every adult anyway, everyone who is above 45 or 50 years old, speaks about the value of the dinar. Right. But whenever you bring up the question of how much an Algerian person who works very hard makes a month or makes a year, and that compared to what people who do the same kind of effort and job make a year in other countries, they're not willing to go there.
No,
they're not. And
when it comes to details, I understand what you mean. Like when it comes to details, they kind of escape.
And also there are like, for example, the speech that taxi driver gave us is something that is redundant. When you live here, you start hearing this all the time. It's not
BS. It's boomer speak.
It's boomer speak. It's not. You realize that it's not really his opinion.
No,
he's just repeating something that is popular.
It's a collective idea that people thought it's right. It's soothing to think that this was the reason.
But when you introduce something new to the conversation, they don't speak to you. They're like, whatever, right? So.
But we can dig here.
If you do that, I did that in workplace. I was working as an engineer, and whenever we would go to have lunch, they would start talking about work, and I didn't like to talk about work because that was our free time.
Yeah.
And so I would bring up like what I thought to be interesting stuff, like philosophy, like the news, like politics, and at some point it started disturbing everybody.
Oh, wow.
They really didn't like that. So yeah, so maybe it seems like people here are more opinionated, but in reality they're not.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, you could be right, because what I see is like, they wouldn't like marginalize you, but in Japan people ghost you if you
don't get ghosted here, but you
Yeah.
get the next best thing. Do you see? Because it kind of they realize that if they ghost you, it's on them.
Okay.
So they don't really do that. However, they go as far as avoid you at
Is
least.
it working?
Okay, let's check.
We always have to check. Sorry, we don't have an assistant.
Of course it is.
Yay.
Yeah, so this is 20%.
Cool. We apologize.
Thank you for your patience. So yeah,
What I'm saying is, in terms of daily conversation, especially you, someone like you who likes to have talks and everything, you will find it very physically and mentally exhausting to not be able to say anything about anything.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, and this is my case right now. It's like, especially with the Palestinian thing, you have to. I try to explain to people, but they kind of like, eh.
Isn't it the same reaction here in Algeria when you talk about the boycott?
Well,
Aren't people like,
it's funny. Yeah. We had a nice experience today, as usual. I mean,
Very brave of you, by the way.
everybody should do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like the boycott, like they are like this because you talk to them nicely, the ones here.
Yeah.
So if you were to actually scold them, they will get angry and get into a fight
Okay.
because you're hurting them in public, so it's painful. But if you are polite like we did today, they listen. And this is what I hate about, like, are you living under a rock and you don't know what's happening?
Yeah.
To tell me, oops, I forgot, I bought Coca-Cola. How did you forget that? It just like drives me crazy.
People do not really see the connection between their spent money and the money they spent and what is happening there.
Absolutely, and I wish they would, because and it's our fault. The intellectuals who keep quiet, who say, "Khatini, I don't care, I won't say anything." No, we should speak. We should speak up, and we should educate people. We have to say something. Just say it and leave. Just say it and leave. Hurt the person. Your money is going to kill Palestinian children, and leave.
Yeah, because it's
Let it
funny.
sink.
A few years ago, there was a thing on Twitter that was trending, which was a photo of baby Hitler. And I think everybody tweeted about this. Like every single person who had a Twitter account had a say about this. Well, like whether you should kill baby Jesus or not, because he's still a baby anyway.
Baby Hitler.
But I said Jesus.
Yeah,
Baby Jesus.
No.
Baby Hitler.
Yeah.
Right. So, would you kill the baby Hitler or let him live because he's a baby, he's an innocent baby, right?
Yeah.
And everybody had to say about this, but at least everyone agreed on the fact that this baby would grow up to be a very evil man, right? And everybody had their opinion on how much they hated this person, and because they represented genocide, right? And the same people, at least the majority of those people who were tweeting about this, said nothing while genocide was happening.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like when it happens 50 years ago or 80 years ago, you talk about it, you have opinions about it. But when it's happening as you are alive, as you have platforms, as you have thousands of people following you, it's live. You see it with videos. Then you decide to ignore it.
Yes.
I kind of after the 7th of October, I kind of lost hope in humanity, to be honest.
I'm happy, actually, to be honest.
You're happy I lost hope in humanity?
And kind of too, yeah. I'm happy because of this, it's very clear now, as many people said, it's white against everyone else. Now
It
it's very
became
clear.
clear.
Now it's like, if
Yes.
anybody had a doubt about it, now it's clear.
I talked to some white people during summer because I was in a white country, and I brought up subjects like invasion and colonization. You know, they call it colonization, like they would colonize Mars.
Yes.
You know how we would colonize Mars? It would be a good thing.
Yes, it's
Mars
like
is just a
Andalusia. When I
rock.
talk about it, they say these are conquests.
Yes.
Are you happy?
Yeah. But the thing is, there are no civilizations in Mars, right? So it's okay to just go there and like take over the land.
Absolutely.
However, when you say colonize Algeria, do you mean like there was no one there before you came?
Yes.
That's what that's what it implies, and I feel like Westerners, Europeans, know how to do vocabulary warfare.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Like they use some words in certain ways to make you agree with them,
Absolutely.
or to make you believe in their cause without realizing it. Because when they talk, for example, aliens, when they come to the USA in, for example, Independence Day, the movie, they invade.
Yes.
They don't colonize the USA.
Yes.
They
Of course.
invade.
Of course.
But France colonized Algeria.
Oh yeah.
Kind of weird how they.
This is the thing, like, and I have to quote my boo, Joseph Conrad. He said something. He said, the conquest of the earth, which means mostly the taking it away from those who have a different complexion or slightly flatter noses than ourselves, is not a pretty thing when you look into it too much.
Yeah.
So when he said it, it was because many people accused him of being a racist, whatever. But when you see what he said, he made it clear, like, this is because he said, used the conquest of the earth as a sarcastic way to say, and he was observing, like, his people going to the Congo, going to Africa, and like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And most books and movies we watched, like Robinson Crusoe, we grew up watching it, like, as a cartoon, as a movie. It's a pro-imperialistic novel of a white man who technically went to an island, and then a black dude decided to be his slave. The black guy decided to be his slave, and he built a whole city, and then he went back to his country. Like, this is what a white man does.
Yeah.
Kipling as well. He wrote Kim, a book. It's called Kim. It's about a small Indian boy who's very smart, very clever, very genuine, and a genius. But at the end of the story, you realize that the child is not really Indian. He's Irish and he's white.
That's why he was clever.
That's why. So these pro-imperialistic books, and now what bothers me, like, people engage in, I would say, white art, thinking it's the absolute elevated thing in the world. And they forget about Africanism, about negritude, about all these, like, South American cultures.
White people are making a lot of money by having an inspiration from African
Absolutely.
art.
Like
Picasso.
orature, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The art of orature, oral literature from Africa, they try to make it as theirs, which is insane. And we were behind because we relied on orature. People were not documenting enough.
Yeah.
And this is where we lagged.
Yeah.
We were left behind.
We didn't invent the printing press. I think I talked to you about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like,
Huge
we did not take advantage of the technology they made.
Yeah.
Because
they
we
took advantage of what we did.
Absolutely. People say, like, oh, we didn't make this technology. Yes, we didn't have time. We were invaded. We were colonized. People were dying. While in their country, they had time to think and create things.
Yeah.
So now you tell me an Israeli, a Jewish guy created electricity or whatever. Yeah, he was in, like, what, Poland or something?
Yeah.
Chilling, not under the sun, and he came up with something.
Yeah.
While a person in Africa was struggling with colonization. How do you
No
expect
education,
Yeah,
no
how do you
money.
expect,
Yeah.
like, Algeria now is England in 1945?
I think behind. Even then, behind.
It was 1945, basically. It was after the Second World War, yeah?
Yeah.
And after the Second World War, we had, they gave them, like, basically healthcare for free. And they were giving them housing for free. Does it ring a bell?
Okay, but they were making their own machines.
Well, they did not license their own machines. Like when they had the steam engine, everybody was copying the steam engine because England, this is why England basically fell. During the Industrial Revolution, they were not able to, let's say, had a patent for their work.
Yeah.
So the steam engine was like copied everywhere.
Yeah.
So they didn't make that much money
Well,
from
at
it.
least it was invented everywhere.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
but
because-
again, they had the opportunity
Yeah,
at the
because
time.
there are traces of the steam engine even in the Library of Alexandria.
There you go.
Yeah, so at least concepts.
Absolutely.
And I know that there was an Arab scientist back in the Dark Ages, so-called Dark Ages anyway.
Golden
who-
Ages.
Yeah, Golden Ages, Golden.
Golden
yeah.
Age, sorry. Yeah.
So during the Golden Age, he put a list of every machine known to man at that time, and one of them was the engine.
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right.
So-
So they had time to check, document, study, while sending their troops to loot
Yeah.
other countries.
Yeah, I think we do have. We should blame ourselves as well, and we should learn from history. Like there are things that we did, that are mistakes that we made during our history that we don't talk about.
That's true.
One of which is I don't want to be redundant and talk about this again, and I would talk about this like forever and
Yeah, yeah.
never stop. And actually, when I went to Switzerland, I talked to some history teacher and asked them about this fact, and they were like, yeah, absolutely. The fact that they invented the printing press and they started editing books. You know, California, the state.
Yes.
It was visited by a Spanish
Is
guy.
there California food?
Yeah.
Uh,
It was visited by a Spanish guy while he was reading a novel in which there was an island that was called California.
okay.
So this was in the 1500s. He was reading just a random novel book, like a science fiction or fantasy book, right? So because he was reading, it's like you're watching Game of Thrones, and then you go to a place and you name it. What are the places in Game of Thrones called?
Ice. Something.
I don't know, but like not Asgard. Asgard is
La,
Lord
Asgard
of the
is
Ring.
one. Oh my god.
So you're reading Lord of the Ring, and you go to a place and you name it Asgard, right? So he did the same thing, and it made me really surprised. Like, wow, you had books in 1500s. When we read about Algerian history, we did not have those.
Yes, that's it.
Actually, I spoke to some Algerian intellectuals, and I asked them, when do you think the printing press was invented? And every Algerian guy, even I asked some Iraqi people, Middle Eastern people, Egyptian people, they all said it was invented in the 1800s. Minimum 1700s, like late 1700s.
Yes.
Some said 1790. When I asked European people, they all say it was invented in 1400. So it's because when they try to guess, they reference the earliest printed books.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and the earliest printed books in the Arab world were printed in the 1800s, right? But the earliest printed books in Europe were printed in the 1400s, right? And I think, even today, whenever our president goes to visit a European country, they give them some documents.
Yes.
Like, we have traded with you in a date like this one, some copper and whatnot. And we don't have documents like this. Do you know why?
Unfortunately.
Because we used to write these documents. And they had tens of copies
Yeah.
that they would distribute everywhere of the same document. So this is one example of one thing that we did wrong, which is not embracing
Documenting.
technology and not going forward, being too conservative. And I feel like even today, it's not as much as before. At least we are embracing AI. We are in a way, but we should be wary about that and not let ourselves be too conservative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the concern of like documenting, and this is the point, right?
Yeah. Yes. So, what's yes? Let's move. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about. I don't think it was recorded. What would you? What advice would you give to young people, very quickly?
Okay, advice to give to young people: do as much trainings as possible in multiple fields.
In your 20s, right?
In your 20s, like mechanics, tiles, building, construction, women like nails, art, hairstyling.
I know a few women working in mechanic shops.
Yeah, here you go. So any type of work that would need a human being to be done.
Actually hands with 5 fingers.
And thinking and everything, because like solution finding is very, even if AI, like they cannot do these kind of jobs. So something that require like a, being a handyman, like, or something, people would always call for your services. This is important. Anything else could be learned at university, but these things are much, much, much cheaper in Algeria, even if we think it's not, because abroad they're extremely expensive and they take much longer time to actually.
Yeah, you can do training here in Algeria in 3 days,
yes,
in a week.
Absolutely.
Right.
Like the thing, just a quick example. I know people who went to Canada, yeah, and instead of focusing on their studies, they ended up working in a donut shop or a hamburger shop with like a really crappy salary with like tips and everything. They could have, done like something like mechanics or plumbing jobs, and they could make more money instead of just doing that, which is like a very low salary type of job while they're studying for their thing.
Yeah, this is a perspective that I couldn't think about while being here.
Yeah.
Because this is very interesting. There's a thing that happened while you weren't here, which is there was a trend. A lot of people wanted to start their own startups.
Okay.
I was working in an incubator, which is a startup that helps startups start up.
In Sidi Abdallah.
In Sidi Yahya.
You have an incubator in Sidi Yahya?
I used to.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't work out. But what do you think about this whole trend? Do you think it's healthy for young people? Do you think it's good for future generations? Yeah, this whole mentality of, you know what, I'm gonna work for my own. I'm gonna have my own startup. I'm gonna succeed. I have my own thing. Start my own company.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you have the right strategy and you have the right value of your product, you can see that in the short term you can actually build something that people need. It's not like people want mostly. People want as well, but the need. What's the need in society right now? And you create something around it, and you get the right sponsors to help you and partners to work with you in this project. Yeah, definitely. We need more people to do startups. You and I, we know a lot of people who are very talented in multiple fields, but they don't do anything because they just end up in an office because they need money immediately.
Yeah.
And totally understandable. Okay, some people want to get married, some people want to build a future, but don't be in
build a future, you mean get married?
That too. Yeah, but like they are in such a rush to make money because everyone is like, how much money did you save to go to Japan? How much money did you make? I couldn't. Who can in this country? It's impossible. Like if you're not driving, you have to pay for transportation. If you're driving, you have to take care of your car, and etc., etc. So instead of focusing on making money on your 20s, you really have to take one project you think it's going to work and focus on it, because this is the thing, and this is what US is about. They are visionaries, even in war. Even in war, they think 100 years ahead. They have always been like this. We look just here, right?
Oh yeah.
But for Americans, they're always like, what would happen in a century? What would happen in this? They're not thinking of the right now. And this is why they succeed in bullying the world, because they know where to throw the dice and how to manipulate people on the long run.
Yeah.
And this is our problem. We always need we need the result right now, and it doesn't work. Like I wanted to go to Japan since high school, but I knew I couldn't, in any terms, like I couldn't. So yeah, at some point I was talking to my mom. I was 24, and I told her when I'm 30, I'm going to Japan. She's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I hit 30, it's like 1st of January I was in Japan.
Oh.
I traveled from here at the 31st of December and reached Japan on the 1st.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the cool part. So
that's interesting. Yeah.
So startups, yes, definitely. Do it and don't be scared, because if you're scared, it means it's right.
Huh.
That's it. That's what I learned in my life.
Have you ever visited a university club? like
I-
scientific club?
Oh yeah, I've been to Lini, I've been to Babzouar.
I mean, recently.
Recently, no, unfortunately, no.
You should. It's impressive. It's
Yeah.
incredible,
I
actually.
see even the groups on Instagram and what they're doing is just fantastic.
And I feel like every generation has more to give than the
Absolutely.
previous one.
Absolutely.
I have been in a scientific club, and we had like scientific projects that were impressive at the time, but are much less impressive than what these people come up
Absolutely.
to today.
That's
Yes,
amazing.
they do robots, they do like technology solutions, things
That's
like
great,
that. It's amazing. You have come this. Tell me about your trip to Algeria. How is it going so far?
I think this last trip was really bad. Was really horrible, I would say,
Okay.
because the weather was really bad. It was really hot.
And rainy at the same time,
Yeah,
and cold
and
at the
my
same time.
logistics were really bad, and I had a child of 9 months, and I realized how hard for moms in Algeria. How
You mean this
No,
this trip or
before.
before? Okay.
I was really shocked on there is no facility for mothers in Algeria, and it's just paralyzing to have a
You
baby.
see that only when you're a mother.
You cannot feel it. Like when you see him outside or you see a baby crying in the bus, you get annoyed, right?
Yeah, I do.
But can you imagine the stress of the mother of her child crying nonstop in a bus? Now I'm on that side, and I'm like, people are not patient, and the bus is small and tiny, and the kid is uncomfortable.
You know, I think mothers are underrated,
Oh yeah, definitely.
and women in general, anyway. But I had some,
morning.
I had some students who are in their 40s and 50s who come to learn English, and I would ask them, "What do you do?" And they would say, "I do nothing," because they are homemakers. They stay at home.
Yeah.
They are stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home wives. And I did a thing. I did actually research it in front of them. I was like, okay, you say you do nothing, but let's check what's the contribution of homemakers in the GDP of a country. So
Yeah.
they did an investigation in South America, and they found out that almost 30% of the GDP is being made by homemakers, so housewives. So, which is incredible. Like, can you imagine? Like 30% of everything that the country makes.
That's insane.
It's the work of women who are at home. If you actually brought people from abroad and paid them to do the work that they do, you would lose 30% of the GDP.
That's crazy.
And without taking into account the value that they bring by bringing up new people into society. So this little child that is crying inside the bus, who is very disturbing, is gonna grow up to be the next architect that's gonna design your house.
Yeah.
He's
definitely.
gonna grow up to be the next mechanic that's gonna fix your car. So at some point, if you end up in a situation where you won't find a mechanic, or you won't find, I don't know, what do people do with their hands? Whatever job you would need, then you realize that this is something valuable. So these women are going through so much stress,
Yeah.
physical and psychological, in order to provide society
And
with the necessary number of people to make up everything.
yeah, and the society thinks that, like for example, as you say, homemakers are just sitting in the house.
Yeah.
Which is just drives me crazy, because a lot of my friends have this issue with their spouses. Like the spouse thinks because he's going to the office, he thinks that's it.
Yeah, his wife is lazy, just laying down all day.
That's basically it. There was a video recently of a woman who gave birth 2 days ago, and then the husband was like, "Make me a roast. You've been sitting all day."
Yeah,
for
I
2
lived
days."
that.
The hell?
It wasn't the woman, but I didn't do that, but I saw that.
Yeah. So this is insane.
It's a common thing.
Yeah. So I was really like, "Oh my God, I'll murder this guy if my husband does that." I was like, he's done.
Yeah, but they have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the husband is the one making the money.
Yeah. But
and
still.
the wife isn't making any money.
Yeah. But this time, my experience in
Okay.
Algeria is fantastic.
Tell me about it.
Well, the weather is fantastic, as
Okay.
expected from Mediterranean weather. All right, God bless the Mediterranean. I managed myself better in terms of meeting people. I had fantastic friends who helped me out a lot. and I'm thankful. But I was like more focused. I had a project in mind, so I came with a mission as well to go to Alger Centre and to take pictures of people, of businesses, because I wanted to see these small businesses that are not recognized. I wanted to give them some, recognition as they work hard, and we have always been visiting them since our childhood.
I think what you did today was fantastic.
Yeah, we had fun today together.
So tell people who are listening what you did.
So basically, in the cookbook I made, I had a feature of a man in Hasiba, right? And he has a shop of pizza curry. So we went together, and I entered, and I brought him the book with his picture, and he was so happy about it. Everybody came to see the picture, and they were like excited and everything.
Yeah, and you took photos of them as well while they were working.
Yeah.
They even did some stage stuff where they would put the
like
pizza and then take
Are you
camera.
watching?
Yes. Do I put it again?
Yeah, it was adorable.
And I think what you provided these people is you provided them with an award because they have been working for decades.
They did, yeah,
and they were never recognized for the talent that they needed in order to do what they do, and also for the effort. Like there was never a thank you. The thank you is in the money.
They think it's business, like it's not only business.
Exactly.
They could switch and do something easier, but
that's it. And also they could make their pizza much worse.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen when we entered it, like huge piles of tomatoes and everything. I was like, it's actual tomato.
It's actual tomato.
Okay,
it's
we
not
buy our
processed
tomato from a box. So this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your perspective, it is.
Yes.
Because I'm used to actual tomato.
Yeah, people take food for granted in Algeria.
Yeah.
And like what we consider as like, organic. Abroad, I'm like, what's wrong with you? This is a normal Tuesday in Algeria. I was like, what is wrong with you? And my father was like, you know how much the potato is? It's this price and this price.
No, it's cheap.
I'm like, shut up. I buy 4 potatoes for that price. Okay, so please don't,
Yeah.
So people, I don't want to say that people are not grateful, but people are not aware of, because you think like they live abroad that we have better. Yes. The food is never better than our country. Not only our country, like being Mediterranean country and natural foods.
Tastes better.
Definitely tastes better. Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, the store was nice.
Yeah, and tell me about your book. Why did you wrote a book? It's incredible. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
And it looks really amazing.
Thanks.
I loved going through the pages.
We don't have a copy, sorry.
Yes,
we gave the last one.
We gave the last one away. Tell me, when did you decide to do this project?
But anyway, so the idea, I was a new mom, and obviously I couldn't move anywhere. Like I was working, but my job became more of like an at home, like commercial photography and stuff. And I was trying to improve myself, because my goal was like to improve myself as much as possible during the first 3 years of my daughter. When she goes to kindergarten, I would be able to, get back on my feet by myself. So that was the plan.
Okay.
And I was like, what kind of thing I can do that would contribute to something and could leave a trace behind, in that sense. And I was like checking on Instagram and everything. And I'm like, everybody's making so many videos, but we don't have any resource. I was preparing food and I was Googling, recipes. I'm like, we don't have a blog. Nobody has like a blog with things like in English. We only have in French or Arabic or Darja, which is great, but not enough. Yeah. Like, who are you trying to impress? Yeah. So even Instagram reels, we have amazing reels about Algerian food, but no English, always. It's always like French or Darja. So I was like, what if with my photography, and I was lacking experience in food photography. Yeah. So as much as like I want to show my clients' work, I'd rather show my work. Yeah. So I decided to, I'm gonna do this, and especially in Japanese, because every time I go to a store, kitchen of the world, they exist, except our kitchen, obviously, our cuisine doesn't exist. So I started writing like what are the recipes that every Algerian household cooks on a daily basis. And I'm like, I make the list of 22, 21. And I really didn't want a book with like 50 recipes, because nobody does 50 recipes from a book. Only a psychopath does.
Oh yeah.
You always buy a book and then you do 2, 3 and you stop.
How many recipes ended up being in the book?
23.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, 23 is more than enough as an introduction.
Yeah.
And they are the easiest things to do, minus the rista.
Yeah.
And that's it. I focused on illustrations. So I was making sure to take pictures of the steps, because when you read our steps, it's impossible to follow sometimes.
Okay.
So it needs illustration. So I was like, I'm gonna make a picture of the food and illustrations of each step. And I did it. I was like, okay, so now what's next? I don't know anything about our food. So I decided to enter some history and culture in it with some photography of Algeria.
So how long did it take you to do the whole thing, from idea to end?
I would say a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Yes.
Okay. And you put the book on Amazon. How many people have ordered the book? Last time you told me it was quite impressive.
Yeah, but I cannot disclose.
You cannot disclose, okay.
On video.
It was quite a lot. I was impressed.
I did not expect it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, and yeah, I didn't expect that.
It's an amazing tribute to Algerian culture.
I hope so.
One thing I realized, Atra, when I went abroad, is that people do not know Algeria at all.
No.
People do not know what happened in the 50s in Algeria.
No.
They are not aware of our history. They are not. You know, I would meet people. They would ask me, "Where are you from?" And I would tell them Algeria, and they're like, "Huh, okay."
Yeah,
and they would feel a bit embarrassed because they don't recognize the country.
As they should.
As they should, but at the same time, I would I cannot understand. So I tell them it's between Morocco and Tunisia. At some point, I even met someone who speaks Arabic. I met a Kurdish girl who speaks Arabic.
Okay.
And she was like, "Where are you from?" I told her, "I'm from Algeria." She said, "I've never heard of that country before."
I think it's because she's an ignorant person.
I mean, absolutely, of course.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you don't know, like, no, this is too much.
Yeah, yesterday there was a person who DM'd me, and she was like, "I would like to be on the podcast." I told her, "Okay, great. The studio is in Blida." She said, "Where's Blida?" Yeah, but turns out she was Moroccan. But I would even tell them it's the country between Tunisia and Morocco.
I don't say that at all. I usually open the map and I show.
Look how fucking big it is.
Yes, I just don't say anything about the countries between us.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to.
Yeah.
And this is what I learned, something very important, and some people will hate me about this, I don't care.
Yeah.
Some countries, they take stuff from us.
Yes. Some countries.
Yes, and they don't, and some other countries don't, you know. And what I like about Algerians is when something is not ours, we say it. We say it.
Yeah.
I have never met somebody who tells me this is ours while it's not.
I can give you a good example.
Yeah.
Nobody said Gnawi is Algerian. Nobody said Tinariwen is an Algerian band.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a reason for that, because they're not. They lived in Tamanrasset a long time, and the Gnawi has thrived in places like Tamanrasset, but in reality it's Saharan. It's Saharan music, and you can find it in Libya, you can find it in Algeria, you can find it in Mali, Mauritania.
Of course, because the Aswad tribe we have, the
Yes.
Aswad tribe, like they represent what we collected.
Yes,
the
and they
actual
transcend the limits, the geographical limits.
So now that is what I learned. I learned to never mention any other country except mine.
Okay.
When I'm explaining. And people, you should do that too. You never try to put your country in a position where like it's between this and this, or it's next to this or next to that, or no, this is the map. Your job is to kind of educate yourself on geography, because it's the biggest freaking country in Africa. It's not like the smallest tiny one like Eritrea or something. It's huge. How can you not know it? Like Trump says, it's huge.
But people don't look at maps. Or at
That's
least when
not
they
our
look at
problem.
yeah. But
And
the
this
same-
is one. Sorry to interrupt
yeah.
you. It's one thing I keep telling you about people abroad, about especially white people. They are not knowledgeable of anything else except the things that are surrounding them.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy. It's like, you don't know this? How do you not know that? How do you not know that? How do you not know that? And at the beginning, you feel like it's our fault. Oh, like, yeah, right. But no, we all had a globe at home. Or atlas.
But is it though?
For me, as you're asking me, Anna, me,
Are you sure? What if what if like I mention a really big country in Asia? Would you be able to recognize it and know things about it?
it depends.
On what?
What do you mean?
Like when I say big, I mean the area.
Like what? Like China?
No, not China. But there are countries like
Laos? What?
wait, I'm gonna find a country. I'm gonna
The
try to
stands?
illustrate. I'm trying to illustrate a point.
So the stands, for example?
For example, do you know all the stands?
Not all of them,
Yeah.
but
do you
I'm
see what I
aware
mean?
of them.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you, oh my God, where is this?
Even countries in Africa. For example, there's a country called Botswana.
Yeah, Botswana.
To be honest, I did not hear of it, even though it's an amazing country. And when I learned about the history of Botswana, it's a democratic country.
But now you know.
Completely democratic country that
But
has nothing to do with Britain.
But now you know. So
Yeah.
this is the thing. If somebody tells you, the people who asked you, okay,
Yes.
did they come back? Did they Google your country? Did they know some?
Okay, but have you heard of the problem that happened between the DRC and the RC? DRC
Republic
is the
of Congo?
Democratic Republic of Congo,
Yeah.
and there's another country which is called Republic of Congo.
Yes.
There are two different countries.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
like these are like you're talking about political conflicts, but at least we know they exist.
Yeah.
And even if we don't know, we Google. Like I met
Yes.
people who tell me like I don't know, I am from Georgia in my school, and I know Georgia, I have an image, but then I Googled it. I had this
Yeah.
like we have this
Or
kind
at
of
least
like,
you know where it's supposed to be.
yeah, at least I know they're white. That's kind of- but to add to, I don't feel ashamed of this anymore. Like at the beginning, I'm like, you don't know Algeria? Ugh, it's my fault. No, you don't know Algeria? Serious? It's the biggest country in Africa.
Yeah, maybe
What's
that's
wrong
the
with you?
attitude I should have had.
Yeah, it's like, what is wrong with you?
But I reflect in myself usually when something don't go as I expect, and also I kind of look back at my own people, and I
Okay.
feel like we haven't done enough promotion to our country.
It's okay, we
And
can
I
do it
feel like,
now.
yeah, absolutely. This podcast is one.
Absolutely.
This is why we're speaking in English.
Yeah,
by the
from
way.
now on.
This is like total promotion.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
I'm trying to promote.
Welcome to Algeria.
Yes, this is Algerian youth, by the way. And
Grandma, apparently.
there you go. So thank you for. And I don't feel like we did enough promotion.
That's true.
There's a conspiracy theory in my head that says that it was voulu, it was wanted to be meant to be this way, but things are changing, and I feel like our country is opening up.
For me, yes, and for me, maybe it's too much to say this, but I feel like I'm an ambassador of my country in
No,
Japan.
you are, because there's a thing
It's
about
my duty.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a duty for me.
Yes.
So I can criticize Algeria only with Algerians because this is what you should do. But you try to criticize your country with foreigners, I think you are stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I think because they would never do that. They are criticizing the economy, they are criticizing the lifestyle, the taxes, but they are never going to spit on their country.
Mm-hmm.
La preuve, they live in it. So, but for me, like in Japan now, whoever asks me about Algeria, I correct information. I tell them like this, because in Japan, they had this incident in Tamanrasset, the terrorist attack, where
The
a Japanese
Japanese?
was killed.
Ooh.
You remember, it was like years ago.
I didn't hear of a Japanese being killed, but yeah,
They were like on TV and stuff.
they were killed on TV.
Yeah, it was like the era of like being trendy in
Oh, yeah, yeah.
the terrorist group. And they mentioned this, and I'm like, yes, 2 Japanese people died, but then Italians died, Algerians died as well. Everybody was killed, not only Japanese people. It was a terrorist act, okay? So it's not about you.
Yes.
People from everywhere died that day. So, but for them, it's like they try to freeze the moment at this. Like, this is what I know about Algeria. So I try to make them feel uncomfortable by, because they should be uncomfortable, not us.
I suppose you're right. Do you know the difference between nationality and patriotism?
I guess.
Yeah, I think the difference is patriotism is like you love your country. You really, really love your country.
Yeah.
And it stops there. But nationalism is you think your country is better than other countries.
Also standing with the government 100%, I guess.
It's could be that there are some nationalists that went against the government, that did coup and things like that. But it's this sense of superiority, or this sense of loving your thing and hating other people's things.
As my teacher said, any ism is not good. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's the rule.
Yes, any ism isn't good. But what I say is like, for me, that's my point. Is like, I love my country, no matter what my country does to me. Okay.
Okay.
And it's just my duty. It's like a parent.
You arrive to a stage where you look at the country as a parent.
I do.
As if you are the parent.
No. The country is my parent.
But shouldn't we expect things from the parent?
No. At some point you don't anymore.
Okay.
So at this point I'm the adult in the story. I'm the captain here, kind of thing. So I just contribute with what I can to this country without asking for something back.
Okay.
The America was built on this, right? You don't ask what America can give you, ask what you can give to America.
Yes.
And they gave them this dream. It's like, this is your mission, your holy mission of helping the America to grow. And people to this day believe in the American dream, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's an illusion, right?
It is.
It is. But people believe in it to this day. This is the United States of America, like the greatest nation in the world. Yeah, sure. Of course. This is exactly how I feel about my country. Algeria is a great nation. Mm-hmm. With all the crappy things we have, we are still better than many others.
Okay.
I strongly believe in this. Like, look at it this way. We have free education. I traveled and I work abroad thanks to this education of my country.
That's true.
I cannot deny this. I had my education for free. Actually, the government gives you money to study, so it's kind of hilarious.
It's kind of insignificant, but yeah.
But hey, you know what I'm saying? Even until PhD, you get money for studying, right?
That's true.
You get healthcare. People tell me, yes, but the structure is bad. Whose fault is it that the structure is bad?
Everyone.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody gives you something, you're supposed to take care of it.
Yes.
But at the end, when the hospital is not functioning right, there is something wrong going on within the administration.
Yeah.
When you go to, for example, hospital of Douira, it's shocking. The walls are scratched, writing in them, chairs are broken, they seem new but they're broken. Like, what happened?
Does this hospital have a manager?
I hope so. I don't know.
If it has a manager, why does he not mind?
That is exactly what I'm saying. We had a strike at university when I was at university. A dude who basically doesn't study at all. Yeah. He did the picketing, you know.
What happens in my university? It happened in my university as well.
Bouzaria. He did the picketing. The guy is.
Yes.
All right, and I don't want to say anything bad. And I'm like, dude, you study with me. You had 8 as an average. This sentence is wrong. 8 as an average is not a sentence. Okay, it cannot work. Yeah. And you want to pass. It's insane. Now the chair is.
Did he have any arguments?
No, I had a fight with him, a physical fight.
Well, of course you won.
Oh, definitely. I kicked the crap out of him. I mean, I had witnesses that time. Amazing. But that's not the point. The point is, when you enter Bouzaria at that time, there are writings on the wall. You know, like it's like a witchcraft thing, but it's like cheating, writing people like they write.
Oh yeah.
The wall is not the wall. The board is broken. The chair is broken. The chair is stable. Who did that?
The students.
So this is what bothers me, you know.
Yeah.
When are we taking responsibility? Where is our responsibility starts and ends?
Yes.
And where is the government's responsibility starts and ends? I feel like there's
And
nothing
also there's
in the middle.
there's interlap between the two.
Yes.
The government is made of people, and the people are made of the government.
Here you go.
And,
That's exactly, because talking about change, like this year, I've seen a lot of structure outside, improvement of structure
Yeah.
on the highways and everything. It's amazing. For me, who keeps coming like after 2 years or something, I'm like, oh, there's a new highway. Oh, there's a new exit. Oh, there's this. Oh, there's this. That did not exist at all back then.
Yes.
I'm happy about that because I feel like, okay, I can see something is changing. It's slow. It's going to be slow forever, but it's there.
Yes. Yes.
Talking about, would you rather live in Algeria or the US?
It depends, because I know that with my skills, I would make way more money in Algeria than here in America rather than in Algeria. I would be able to afford more things in America than in Algeria. But then again, in America, I could just get stabbed or shot.
Not only that, like you need to make at least like, let's say $90,000
in order to
year.
make a living.
Yes.
In
The
order
rent
to
is
survive.
the rent is like $2,500.
And you have no hope of owning your own place.
Yes, and healthcare does not exist.
Yes.
Are we talking about EpiPen is for $800?
You know what someone could actually do, what Algerian people could actually do that would really work. It's freelance on the internet.
Yes,
So
definitely.
doing work.
It started. There is a website for
Yes,
it now.
there are many websites. So tell me why you decided to do this book.
Okay, it's very clear. When I passed on TV, people thought I'm doing the promotion to sell the book.
Mm-hmm.
I was not. My goal is to tell people who have a talent.
And of course, we are talking about your cookbook.
Yes, the cookbook, yeah. Who have a talent or don't. I don't have a specific talent for cooking. It's something you learn. I believe we can learn everything, right? Especially now. If, for example, I saw somebody on Instagram said my mother did like traditional clothing, costumes and everything. I should document that. Yes, everyone around us who knows of something should document it, because you see a lot of virtual content, right?
Mm-hmm.
People make crazy, amazing videos of like archives and history and everything. But like today you said there was a glitch or problem on social media.
Yes.
Imagine all the data goes away.
That would be crazy, because everything I put out there is either on Instagram or YouTube
That's it.
or Spotify.
Yeah, so imagine like there is a glitch or something and everything just goes away.
Yeah.
Everything you built collapses.
You know what could happen? Something really stupid. There could be a sunstorm, which happened, I think, in the 1900s, where all the electronical machines just explode.
That's crazy.
Yes. So if you have a phone, it might explode, or at least it would burn out.
Yeah.
And imagine all the servers of the world
Exactly.
burning out at once.
Exactly, that's it. So what I'm saying is like people need to write down, make books of everything. And people, when you say people don't know Algeria, it's because we don't have enough books about Algeria.
Yeah.
All the freaking books we have, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to shade anybody or something. Our poetry, it's beautiful, all right? But it's in French, yes, or Arabic. We have novels, again, French or Arabic. And most of the novels that exist until today are still talking about the identity of the Algerian people and hybridity and colonialism.
Do you agree with Sami Lamouti, who was complaining that there was no work of science fiction, Algerian work of science fiction, there was no
Absolutely.
Algerian work of fantasy?
Absolutely. You know why Japan evolved? They evolved because basically they did a tabula rasa. They said, okay, we lost the war. It's impressive, by the way. It kind of annoys me
Yeah.
how much they don't talk about history. And they just moved on from there. They created new technologies, wrote new books of everything, basically. They started documenting all their life, okay?
Anime and hentai.
Including, hey, it's history, it's culture, all right? It's all right. And this is what bothers me about Algeria. We have people who make crazy, great online content, but nobody dares to document and write down things. You don't have any book. I mean, I go to the library in Japan, you have, I don't know, pictures from Laos in the 1920s or something like, I don't know, something like this. But where are all the archive of Algeria? We don't have a photography book in English that explains stuff. We have, but it's very sparse. It's like you find one in English, like, oh my God, there's a book about Algeria in English. Oh my God. So, and most of the time they are writers who write, I'm so sorry, but it's boring. It's freaking boring. We don't need to search our identity anymore. We just need to build an identity and move from there.
Yeah.
I am tired of the same speech. I'm tired of the same people talking about identity and who we are. Why do we exist? What the hell? Just create a new identity, base your life on it, and respect your history. Document everything. The culture, the clothes, the food, the lifestyle. Food street. I mean, when you told me you went to take pictures of food street, like street food, street food. When I saw the photos, I was like, oh my God, this is a beautiful photo of a guy who's doing hijab. And maybe nobody respects this dude, but he's doing a great job. And this is his like living, right? But people pass by this guy as if he's nobody. He is not nobody. He's part of your life. Like everybody around us is part of our life, right? We just have to give them a bit of room. That old lady who is like, I don't know, 70 years old and she's still sewing the Constantine dress and everything. Why is nobody talking about her?
Yeah.
Why is nobody taking picture of that lady? Also Nhas, you know. Nobody is going to these stores and taking picture of the man who makes them.
Copper, by the way.
Copper, yeah, right. And telling that what happened, how did you get to this, and how do you do it, like the process, history. In Japan, they do a book for everything. I find books, I'm like, oh my God, there is a book about cups. Just cups. There's a book about spoons, evolution of spoons in Japan. Yeah. You think it's dumb, but it's not. I was like, there is a book of that.
Yeah.
So with doing this book, I really want Algerians to document more on paper, not only on videos, on phone and social media, because social media will disappear at some point. And nobody's going to see your videos from 20 years ago, right?
I suppose.
Unless they're stalkers.
Depends. What do you think? What if your grandfather had an Instagram account? Wouldn't you like look at it?
What if the Instagram disappears?
Yeah, that's a good...
That's the problem.
Because we don't know. Social media is new.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point they decide, we're not going to keep these servers up anymore.
Yeah, we don't have enough data. We don't have enough space storage.
Actually happened to, I think, Google Podcasts recently, even Google Plus.
Oh, wow.
Whatever you posted on Google Plus. Do you remember Google Plus?
Yeah, it was cute.
Yeah. I think MySpace still exists.
It does, yeah. It still exists, yeah.
Yeah.
It still exists. I should open an account in there. But what I'm saying is that is like basically I have a secret account for Leona.
I met my first girlfriend in MySpace, by the way.
Oh,
I'm
that's
that
adorable.
old. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
So yeah, I have an account for Leona.
In what?
On Instagram,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
I
a
follow
secret
it.
account.
Yes.
So what I do in it is like I want to give her the account when she's 18.
Yes, and then she sees herself. It's like what is it called? A memory book.
A album, basically.
Album, yeah.
So, but I print every year. I have a small book of Leona.
Oh.
1 year in Leona. So we have this system. It's called. It costs 500 dinars in Japan.
How many? How much?
500 dinars.
So that's like €2.
It's like a small A5.
Okay.
And I print like 100 best photos.
Okay.
And then we have archive for each year.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
So I have a physical copy, but also I have a digital copy. So we have both.
Yeah.
And every year I print a calendar of Leona.
I want to have that.
It's super cute. So I make one, I print 3, I keep one, send one to my in-laws and send one to my mom.
Okay.
So I always find them, they hold them and they send me a picture every month. It's like, oh, this is Leona in September, in October, November. So
That's very cute.
So please, this is my message to the Algerians. Please document everything you do and please make it in English and don't be. It could turn into a passive income for sure. It will be a passive income,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
But have the courage to start, because if I were able to do it, you can. That's it. It's not rocket science. It's very easy, and if anybody at some point needs help to do it, they can text me and I'll help them out.
I have a question for you,
Yes.
Atra.
Yes.
As a friend,
Yes.
I'm curious. How do you what do you imagine that Leona does when she grows up? I mean, I've never been a parent.
I can't imagine, because I can't really imagine. I would say something very physical.
She would
I hope.
She would be using her hands, like
Yeah.
lifting things.
Lifting, definitely, for sure.
She's strong enough.
Yeah. But I'm saying I'm not going to teach her the things that women should learn, like being able to be tech savvy, to know how the world functions. I will teach her accounting. I will teach her how to do her taxes. When she's in high school, I will do these things that nobody taught us.
Yeah.
I'll teach her to be street smart, because she cannot be street smart in Japan.
Oh yeah.
So she needs to know how to be street smart.
But even now, like she's 2 years old, right?
2.5, yeah.
2.5. How many times has she been in Algeria? Twice. So that's quite often for someone who lives abroad. Algerians who live abroad, who grew up abroad, see Algeria less often.
Yeah, because they have 5 kids.
Oh yeah, especially considering that she's living so far away.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so she could have discovered Algeria when
on
she was
Instagram.
10 or on Instagram or
yeah.
something like that. Yeah, because that would have been more convenient for you, I suppose. But the fact that even now she's not going to have any memories of Algeria now, but you are bringing her despite that. And
because I want her, when she grows, to see that people cherish her. My friends care for her. She has a family here. She has a home, and despite the difficulty of living in Japan, no matter what,
she can come here.
Algeria is also her country.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and she is untouchable here.
Oh yeah.
I want her to know that she's untouchable here.
But it's true. Even people who don't know her, the way they kind of give her protection, or try like I saw people who don't know her, but they try to babysit her.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes.
You don't do that in Japan.
Yeah.
You kind of appreciate it, like you see, like everybody cares.
Yeah.
Maybe too much sometimes.
But I try to remind you something that happened, which I found quite sweet. The same taxi driver I mentioned earlier, the first one we got. You were telling him how difficult it is to have a baby in Algiers, and he was telling you, she's just a little girl. Let her be a little girl. Yes. So even though he never knew her, he was feeling this. He was providing this kind of grandparish
definitely.
kind of attitude.
I mean, most stores, they played with her. They gave her candies. They gave her perfumes. The guy from the perfume shop gave her a bottle of perfume. And she's like high-fiving everybody, and she's very sociable as a kid. So they actually enabled that, and she gets so excited when many people are around her. You've seen this earlier, but then she calms down again when she's alone. It's something she can't have there, because she tries to play with other kids in Japan, and they were taught to not play in groups yet.
Oh, okay.
And she's the only one, like, she steals a toy from somebody just to make him run after her.
Wow, she manipulates already.
Yes, she's like, she's like, ah. So this is amazing, and I want her to come here and to enjoy the freedom that we don't have over there. Yeah. Tell
me about. I call this activism, even though you don't call that yet.
I don't think it's activism, but okay.
I think it's activism is a very good word, by the way. So tell me about something happened today in a restaurant. You saw a couple of people drinking Coke.
Is it recording?
It is.
Okay,
oh my God.
I'm paranoid. You and technology. Somebody cursed you.
Anyway, because that was a really good bit.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
so what I decided to do is like in Japan,
Yeah.
I can't say these things. I can't ask people to boycott because they are so far from reality. I cannot really blame them because the Japanese mindset is about living your life as an individual and watching the news on Yahoo News, which is basically bombing Gaza, strawberry picking in Saitama.
Which
You
is
understand?
very weird.
Yes, so it's not, but now they moved a bit. They kind of like, even the parliament, they're trying to force the ceasefire and everything, finally. And even big companies in Japan, thanks to the lot of protests that are happening right now, they actually cut ties with Israel.
That's amazing.
Yes, Itochu, for example, had huge ties with Israel. They cut ties with them. They canceled their contract with them. So
that's amazing.
there is a
progress.
movement, yeah. And of course, like I am 100% boycotting. But when I came here, I was very shocked by people drinking Coca-Cola as if nothing is happening. And then when I post on stories, everybody goes like, "Yeah, what do you want to do? Do something. Talk to people. Explain to people how it works. Tell them you have to boycott." And they're like, "Yeah, but the store is selling it. The store has a contract." I told you. I even asked people at the store. He's like, "They give me the fridge.
Yeah.
If I don't sell, they take away the fridge. What am I going to do?" Which makes sense. The guy is under contract. They give him even like, the what do you call it? The roll thingy, the shade thingy. But you as a consumer, if you stop buying, they will stop selling.
That is true.
You kill the client. The consumer is the last of the chain, right? But he's also the most important part of the chain.
Yes.
Yes, and if everybody tells me, it's nothing, who are you lying to? Who do you think Coca-Cola belongs to?
No.
It doesn't belong to Algeria.
That's true.
Yeah, so if you go, what I decided to do in Algeria is basically go to the person and say, imagine you're drinking Coca-Cola, okay? So here you go. Here, this is Coca-Cola.
Delicious.
خويا بصحتك.
نسلمك.
Boycott, مقاطعة يا أخو.
Oh.
This is the same reaction you saw today, right?
Yeah.
It happened many times when I tell the person like this. It's like, oh my God, I'm trapped. I cannot say anything because this person is polite. And then she kicked me with المقاطعة.
Yes.
And it's okay if they buy. But you as a human being, you did your part. I'm not going to ask you to remove the bottle and throw it at them or something. But at least speak, say something. That's the point. Like in our, especially for us, Palestine is
Have
huge.
you seen that video that has been circulating about consumerism?
The one with the chain?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, amazing stuff.
That's another reason too.
Yes, because people don't realize that that they can, like their decisions here affect what happens over there.
Yeah, they think that we are nobody.
Yeah, and they think they're disconnected as well.
Yes, even now in Algeria, I see the prices. It just drives me crazy when I see the price have tripled of things. You don't realize it's because you accept to buy at that price, that the price keep increasing.
Yeah.
If you stop buying for a while, the prices will go down.
Yeah.
Right? If everybody agrees. Now boycott, it depends on the person, right? Like Korea, I remember they wanted to boycott Uniqlo.
What's that?
Uniqlo is a Japanese brand for clothing. Because they did some kind of weird advertising. It was offensive to the Koreans. So officially Korea was boycotting Uniqlo. But then the sales of Uniqlo online tripled.
Oh no, yeah.
So nobody went to the stores.
But everybody was ordering online.
Yes. And the last thing that happened to me recently with a friend, I had a fight with, not a fight, the BFM journalist.
Okay.
I called her out because she's Algerian and she's basically protecting Israel. And my friend was like, you shouldn't have shared your conversation online with her. This is not the right thing to do. And I'm like, what the hell? Of course I can. She's a journalist. I'm nobody. She is Algerian, Franco-Algerian, so she has to be on that side of history.
Yeah.
I don't believe in anything else.
Yeah.
It's either you are for or against genocide, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You decided to be on the side of genocide, so I'm calling you out.
Mhm.
What's the problem? And I was shocked by the behavior of my friend, because knowing me, he's like, you should be more like, gentle, whatever. It's like, I'm not gentle.
Yeah.
I don't want to be gentle. It doesn't work.
That's true. And also, it's not a situation that calls for to be gentle.
No.
No, there's a genocide happening. If there's one moment in history where we're not supposed to be gentle, it's now.
It's the best time to be aggressive.
Absolutely.
They were
Absolutely.
aggressive. They
Yeah.
are always aggressive on the media against us.
Imagine you did something against. Imagine you said something positive about what happened in Germany in World War II.
Oh, yeah.
People would be aggressive towards
Absolutely.
you. Even your friend would be aggressive.
Absolutely.
towards you.
Absolutely. You'd be
But
cancelled
when
completely
you're
from...
aggressive defending the Palestinian people, then you're called out.
Yes,
And,
basically. Yeah.
that's hypocrisy.
So yeah, that's why like I tell people, like, don't tell me, because they send me, they take, even people, white people I know, they DM me, they say what's happening is horrible. Share a fucking story.
Absolutely.
Tell to your people. Telling me won't change anything.
I was disappointed with friends of mine who have a lot of followers and not a lot of followers who are not Algerians. At least, like when you're in Algeria, like when you share something about Palestine, at least you know that Algerian people know.
Exactly.
So it's not the same as. But when you share things, you know that I share a lot of stuff about Palestine, about what's happening there, on my stories, and I see Israeli people looking at them.
You see?
Yes,
I lost
check
people.
and I verify.
I lost followers.
I
From
didn't.
from my back when I was a teacher.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so
Yeah.
It-
They stopped replying to me.
here you go.
But
I
yeah,
had-
they look at my stories.
I had a coworker who is actually black.
Mhm.
Black, right?
Whitewash black or black?
I would, as I call them, white black, because they're Americans. They want to
Okay.
say, hey, they're Afro-Americans, okay, whatever. But, because they put on their stories like proud to be African, proud to be, these kind of slogans that I don't believe
Kind
in.
of weird, yeah.
Because they become Africans when it's convenient for them. Have you ever lived in Africa, bro? Have you ever lived?
Do you have plans to
Do
come
you
here?
have plans to live in Africa?
Are you aware of the struggles that
Yeah,
are
don't
happening
go
in
live in
Africa?
the US and tell me, oh, I love Africa. No, you don't. You don't know Africa. What are you talking about? Like, at least live in it.
Mhm.
You see? And he goes like, he posted, I stand with Israel. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, my parents are Zionists. Like, don't say it as a proud thing. It's not something to be proud of. It's like, I told him as if you're saying my parents are Nazis.
Yeah.
Okay? It's like, it's justified what's happening. It's like, oh my God. I'm like, listen, if I meet you again,
I'm gonna punch you in the face.
no, I can't legally. I didn't do that. So,
But that's what they
Hey.
should.
legally, I cannot do anything that I want.
Okay.
Let's just say that.
Whatever you want is
Yes,
not legal.
It's not legal. Yeah. So I said, please do not talk to me. Do not look at me. Do not engage. Do not say hi. Do not say good morning. I don't want to talk to you again.
And what happened after that?
I didn't see him, to be
Mhm.
honest. But this was it. He sent me a message. I was like, I'm not going to read anything. But that was my point.
Okay.
You're out. That's it. You're pro-genocide.
Yeah.
We should do that. We should give more. We should respect ourselves more.
Yeah.
We should engage more. Like, I invite anybody who is into, I don't know, tech or whatever you call it. For example, it's very silly, but
Mhm.
maybe it's an idea for a project. Cartoons for children in Arabic. You know, they are practically non-existent. Good ones.
Okay, I watched
Even
Pokemon in
anime.
Arabic. You mean in Belgium?
Okay, where do you see the whole series of Pokemon in Arabic now?
No. Well, I think Space Toon still exists.
Apart from Space Tune.
Nowhere.
Yes.
MBC3?
Timing is always weird, right? You cannot choose when to watch.
Okay.
I am inviting anybody, I'm talking to the camera, we're both talking to the camera, anybody who's into technology to create something like Netflix for kids in Arabic with a data of cartoons in Arabic.
Mhm.
Even downloading the archive from Syria, you know, like old, like Captain Majid or something. I can't find anything for my daughter to watch.
Oh, yeah.
The new ones are like 3D crap things.
Oh.
with only music in them.
Yeah.
It's basically like alif ba ta ta
Seems fun.
jim ha khan. And the colors, you become epileptic, man. It's like
Oh yeah.
yeah. So I really want anyone who can do this to do it, because it doesn't exist.
Okay. So a platform.
A platform like a, you know, a streaming
Yeah.
a streaming system
service.
service in Arabic, only for kids.
Well,
At
you
least.
know what they could do? They could just open a YouTube channel, because the problem with creating a streaming service is that it's very expensive.
It's okay. What I'm saying, we have rich investors, Arabs. Okay.
Oh.
Instead of
Yeah.
investing like some people investing in Starbucks or sharing, buying shares in Starbucks and Uber
Yeah.
and whatever, they can invest in these people.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. And this is how we grow. It will take time, not 10 years, not 20 years, but we will prevail.
I see.
Economically, we will prevail, inshallah, one day.
Inshallah,
Again,
inshallah, yeah.
I believe in this. I'm positive.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Atra, thank you very much for being on the podcast.
You're
I hope
welcome.
you had fun.
I had a lot of fun. Did you
Yeah.
have fun?
Absolutely.
Oh.
As always, talking to you is very, very fun.
I know, right?
Yeah. Now we're gonna stop recording and talk
Yes.
about
Oh,
things
yeah.
that matter.
The
Yeah, the
tea.
thing.
The tea.
The tea. Yes,
Okay.
we're gonna gossip. So thank you everyone for listening, and see you next time.
Bye. Cool. That was awesome.
Bravo, that was amazing.
That was super cool. Both of us was cool.